All right, some big news here. Prime Minister Modi's mega Agniveer defense outreach. After the scathing attack that came in from the opposition, Congress's Rahul Gandhi, Prime Minister Modi calls Agniveers as game changers. Modi pays a tribute to valor of young Sainiks. Modi to Agniveers. He says, and I quote, "You are India's next leaders." The opposition mocks the Agnipath scheme, but Modi comes out with quite some spirited backing on the Agnipath scheme that they've rolled out. In fact, Prime Minister Modi almost stressing on the fact that Agniveers are the next leaders of India. This is Prime Minister's message, and this comes right at a time when you have the opposition almost trivializing the entire Agniveer scheme in the defense. In fact, at this point, you had Rahul Gandhi mocking the entire Agniveer scheme itself. And Prime Minister Modi now coming with a spirited comeback as he pays tribute to the valor of the young Sainiks. Modi says to Agniveers, "You are India's next leaders." This is Prime Minister Modi's message. As the opposition mocks the Agnipath scheme altogether, Modi comes out with a spirited comeback, backing the Agniveer scheme entirely. In fact, this is Prime Minister Modi as he pays respects to or tribute to the valor of young Sainiks. I'm going to quickly cut across to Abhishek Bhalla joining us for a little more. Abhishek, you had the opposition there extensively criticizing the Agnipath scheme, almost mocking the BJP and the centre, the Prime Minister saying that this was done with whatever preconceived notions that they have. Many of those, in fact, the Agniveers itself will get all their bonuses only post their entire completion of the tenure, etc., pulling out faults in the entire Agnipath scheme. Now, Modi comes back with a spirited defense, says in one statement, Agniveers are India's next leaders. Tell us a little more.
Well, Nabila, this is easily the biggest reform that the Indian military has seen. Agniveer scheme has completely transformed the way recruitments were happening, and today the first batch of Agniveers, a scheme that had come under intense attack, not just from the opposition but also public at large, especially those who are aspiring to be part of the Indian forces, because they thought that this is curtailing their employment after 4 years, because according to the scheme, after 4 years, only 25% of those who've been recruited will stay back. Today, around 26,000 of Agniveers who've been recruited across the three forces have been officially become part of the Indian forces. 19,000 of these are from the Indian Army, 2,700 from the Indian Air Force, 3,000 from the Indian Air Force and 2,700 from the Navy, which also includes 271 women. In time to come, there will be more women who will be inducted through the Agnipath scheme. In the next batch, the Army is expected to recruit about 100 women as part of the Agnipath scheme, and they will be part of the Corps of Military Police. The Prime Minister, while addressing the first batch, also stressed on the fact that the future soldiers need to be more tech savvy, and that's one of the areas that the Agnipath scheme will certainly be focusing on in the longer run.
All right, stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, a retired officer, joining us on the phone line. Mr. Kulkarni, a quick word from you as we see Modi reaching out to the first batch of Agniveers, thousands of them who have been recruited as part of their first batch. Quite an ambitious initiative by the Indian Army and the government at this point. Already receiving a lot of flack from the opposition on various issues, but here Prime Minister Modi is staying focused, looking at Agniveers as the new leaders in the future for India.
Well, I would go along with it primarily for one reason, that the armed forces require a very youthful, range of people at that particular level. And that is where the Agniveers play a very, very important role. And primarily today, when the education is really high, you find everybody, and there's 12th standard or 10th standard, their uptake is very good. And we require tech-savvy people. And that's something that I think is very important. And primarily, I would look at it coming straight after Army Day. and addressing the Agniveers. And what you rightly said, there are some opposition parties not fully understanding the entire gamut of it or what the effect would be. For the first 4 years, it really doesn't make any difference other than we focusing and training the men that we get. So these Agniveers training is very important. And once they are trained well with the kind of simulators we have, the kind of new the technology that we have, the aids that we have to help them get better and better, it will strengthen the armed forces. They will be able to face the future challenges. And the kind of challenges that we have along the LAC and along the LOC, where the terrain is extremely tough, it's very essential that we must have youthful force and we must have force which is tech savvy. Both of it is very important. And in this process, I would look at it, be it girls or be it boys. It makes no difference because very important is being modernization, Atmanirbharta. If these two focuses points are there, I think it will go a long way. And the Agniveers, when they step out into the civil society, they would themselves find a sea change. You won't believe. I can tell you, I can see a chap. If you ever met a recruit and you see him what he is, and you see him a little later as to what it is, the way he talks, the way he understands, and the vision of his will be a sea change. So in today's world, we need people who understand what is going on, how to react, how to understand, be technology savvy. So I think it's a very big step, and the fact that the Prime Minister himself is addressing the first batch of Agniveers is indicative that the nation has a lot of hope in it. Yeah.
Right. Now, sure enough, the army is now aiming at bringing more youthful, better skilled and technically advanced capable soldiers. But the flack that this scheme has received, General Kulkarni, is the fact that this process itself is just a 4-year training. So you have at least 75% of the soldiers who will be dropped out after 4 years, 25% will be retained. What soldiers can you really possibly make who are fit to fight in 4 years' time? That's what the opposition asks.
No, it isn't like that. You know, the training earlier used to be for about little less than 9 months. That has been condensed to 6 months. That is the basic and advanced training. And subsequently, all this training earlier, it used to be based on a very old system of training. Now, as I told you, that we have simulators, we have good advanced training aids. Its uptake of the individual who is coming in is much better. He is a volunteer himself. It would not be very difficult to pick him up. What is it that you're looking in him? Primarily, that he should be physically fit, he should be mentally robust, he must be able to acquire the skill for which he's being trained. It is and excellent in firing. That is what it is to begin with. And subsequently, in those 4 years that he is in the army, in which he is now slowly and steadily picking up the trade or honing his skills, I don't think it's going to make any difference, because even if he joins at the age of 18 or 19, by the time he leaves, he'll be about 23 or 24. I think it's well worth it. And the kind of package that he gets, the kind of training that he gets, the kind of overall improvement in his personality that occurs, I think all of it is a win-win situation. We are being negative. We are only looking at, I think most of us would say, pension nahi milega, to dikkat ho jayega. It is not like that. The person is being trained, he himself becomes an asset to the society, he becomes an asset to the family, and it takes a lot of money also from here so that he can start any venture that he wishes to, or even join. 75% that you spoke of are people who will be absorbed within the various other, organizations of the government.
Professions, of course. They're skilled enough to get into any profession. But such a young age, about 18 years, 17 is when the recruitment begins. So for 17 years and above, within 25, they have 4 years of training that they could undergo as a soldier, and then only 25% of the rest will be retained. Now, I'm going to quickly cut across to Rahul Gandhi, just about a month ago, where he spoke about the Agnipath Scheme as it was announced by the Indian Army, as the Army now aims at recruiting close to 46,000 people. Today was the first batch that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh addressed. Here's a quick recap on what the opposition Rahul Gandhi had said on the scheme.
सेना आपकी देखभाल करती थी, अब नई योजना लाए हैं, अग्निवीर योजना। इसमें आप 4 साल काम करोगे, उसके बाद जूता मार के निकाल देंगे। और फिर तुम्हें जो करना है कर लो, रोजगार मिले ना मिले मर जाओ, हमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। आपको 4 साल मिलेंगे, 4 साल के बाद आपको 1 मिनट नहीं मिलने वाला।